everybody. I am Tony Carreri.
And I'm Chris Carreri with Lakeland's Realty,
where we live the life we sell. And we are here today on this beautiful day with Philip and Amy Gentry, who come from way up north, right?
Yeah.
Simpsonville, South Carolina. But they have moved in here and actually just live a couple of doors down from us on the greatest part of Lake Greenwood ever, right?
We got pretty good neighbors, too.
Yep. We got good neighbors, good neighborhood. And this is Prissy, not to be undone, who is just an amazing boy, Ken. And it's been really fun. You know, in fact, before they built their house here, we would see them out in the lake floating with their boat and just enjoying it, realizing that you guys picked the best spot on the lake.
We spent an entire summer on the boat, floating out here. And I'm sure everybody's looking at us going, what are they doing? They're just floating right over this vacant lot. And we did, because, you know, there's so much that goes into looking and planning and doing the whole process. But we did. We even before we had a house, it was still home.
That's right.
Yeah, you made it home.
And, you know, and there's nothing more affirming for someone like me to have people like you that I consider to be in your own right. You are experts in the field. Right? I mean, you've lived on Lake Hartwell before, right?
Yes.
And Philip was actually the host of Upstate Outdoors back in the day on WORD and did a podcast. Yeah, and has done a podcast and has been very plugged into the outdoors fishing world pretty much your whole life, right?
My whole life. As a matter of fact, Amy lived on Lake Hartwell for a while. When I was born, my parents had a house on Lake Hartwell, so I actually was, you know, grew up on the shores of Lake Hartwell. We were Hartwell people.
Yeah,
Hartwell people, and you ended up at Lake Greenwood.
We did,
which is awesome.
There's a funny story about that. We were looking at the lake, and we were kind of having trouble catching fish on Lake Hartwell, and trying to make a decision, and I said, you know what? Let's go to Lake Greenwood.
And at the time, our boat was actually in Portman Marina.
Yeah.
I mean, we were Portman.
So we trailered here.
Pulled the boat out.
We put the boat in. We had a fantastic day fishing, and it's one of those things. I mean, I've fished on this lake pretty much my whole life, but we got here, and instead of just looking at the water and everything, we started looking around, going, you know, I could see it. I could see it happening. We had a great day fishing, caught a lot of fish, and I believe that was the day that we were like, you know what, we can make this work.
Let's go there. Let's move there.
Here's your sign.
Yeah,
right.
If these two aren't catching fish, too, nobody's catching fish.
Yes.
It was getting frustrating. Well, and you know, I just never thought about it before because I had lived on Hartwell years ago, and then when I moved off of Hartwell and moved back to Simpsonville, I still held a slip at Portman for years. I mean, like 19 years I held a slip at Portman, so it's like always been the spot.
Right.
And all it took was that one day to pull the boat out and come down here, and it was like,
If you're ever in doubt, come down to Lake Greenwood, spend the day. Spend the day fishing. Spend the day fishing with these two.
Spend the day
that would be a win.
Yeah, and then when it came time we decided, well, we're going to look for a lot, and we did all of our searching. We had a list of lots, and because some of them were, you know, in different places that we maybe didn't know how to get there easily by truck, by car.
we did it by lake.
We just put them in a GPS and went by lake.
That's the best way to see property.
And yes, it is. It really is.
Absolutely. Totally different perspective.
Yeah.
So on top of joining us on the Connect Lake Greenwood committee, Philip he started the page Greenwood Lake Live. And can you tell us a little bit about that? It was a different concept from what we had seen from some of these other groups on Facebook.
That's kind of a cool thing. It really happened more or less by accident, Chris. You know, during COVID, and everybody was kind of down because we didn't know, can we go outside? Can we go here? You know, kind of staying around at home. And at the time, Amy and I were doing a podcast. And I kind of wanted to play around with doing a Facebook page, but I didn't want to screw up on our page. So I created this page as a practice. I was sitting up there on the deck, and I had a cup of coffee, and I set it up there and took a picture of it. And I said, man, that'd be a good cover page. I need to turn that into a Facebook page. But the idea that kind of struck me, and that was on a Sunday morning, was, you know what, so much negativity and so much, you know, unsure about what's going on, this and that. I want to make a page that's nothing but good stuff. I want to see photographs. I want to see, you know, kids skiing behind boats
Good times.
and people fishing, and because those things can kind of end up being, you know, advertisements for services and products and stuff like that. And so I decided to be nothing of that. I want to have like a family album of the whole lake.
That's so
as
cool.
a page. And we've done pretty well. I mean, we've grown to almost 7,500 members.
I'd
and
say
a
that's
lot of
very
That's a
well.
lot.
a lot of
In a
people kind of
small
dig the
period of time.
concept.
Well,
I
of
think so, too.
course, of course,
Yeah.
and I know I feel that way. It's so great to have something where there's no political BS on there, and there, you know, it's just good times and good vibes, right?
Yeah, and,
That's what it's about.
And I tell people that
Prissy gonna get that?
I tell people, you know, there are a lot of people who are like, well, who do I call for this or who do I call for that? And there are pages that do that will give you that information. It's not like I don't want you to have that information, but I wanted, like I said, like that family album of people enjoying the lake and celebrating all the good things about Lake Greenwood.
The good times.
That's awesome. That was good. So tell me a little bit about, you know, the difference between being on Lake Hartwell and being on Lake Greenwood.
Oh wow. The biggest difference is how close we can be to the lake and the lake community. I mean, not saying anything negative about the Corps of Engineers lakes, but being able to I'm really screwing up here.
That's all right.
Really being able to get closer to the lake, you don't feel like you're disconnected from it.
My biggest thing's the dock. This, you know, being able to build a pier dock, a stationary dock that we obviously use as outdoor living.
It is outdoor
Yeah.
living.
You know, and it's like we can come out here on holiday traffic, boats everywhere, and
Just sit and
hang
relax
out in our
just
own
like we
little
are right
world, you
now.
know? And it's just that's one of the things that was so appealing when we kind of started the process. I was like, oh, we get to build a big giant dock, and there's not all the loopholes and the red tape to fight your way through to get it done. I mean, the ease of getting permits and everything through lake management here is
It's a
unbelievable.
blessing.
It's night and day to anywhere I've ever even seen.
Well, we sure are glad that you found your way to Lake Greenwood. I'm glad it was a great day fishing, and we have loved having you here on the lake, and especially as neighbors. And here's to you guys. Thank you for coming to Lake Greenwood. Cheers.
Cheers.
You're too sweet.